Welcome to Podtendo, a Nintendo podcast, where they analyze, reminisce, and replay the glory of old Nintendo games.
Hey, time to load up on PlayStation games. Greatest hits are on sale. Crash Bandicoot, Jet Moto.
But I don't even have a PlayStation.
You do now.
Mom know about this?
Who?
PlayStation.
Hey guys, welcome to the Podtendo podcast, where we analyze, reminisce, and replay the glory of old Nintendo games. We've been contacted on Twitter, podtendo@gmail.com, maybe on YouTube. You can probably find us, and we're a review retrospective Let's Play pop culture show, so we're going to deal all those things in the theme around one game. Oh boy, it's going to be fun. We're in a numbered show. Sometimes we don't have numbered shows for a while. I feel like we've had a lot of numbered shows back to back to back to back. We really didn't break them up at any point. So that's kind of exciting. But today we're here. I am Mick. I'm talking to
Tyson.
Sweet. Cool.
Yes. And we got a interesting game we both maybe only played a demo of as kids growing up, and that was about it. So
that's my first memory section right there. So yeah, it's an experience. It's a thing that happened here at the end of the year. We're like, oh man, we should play a new game on this right before Christmas. Christmas is what, 5 days away or something? It's like the 20th, I think, in theory. Oh baby, can't wait. Christmas time. What are we gonna do? New game? Something? Oh, something fun that'll bring. Tyson's like, oh, Tomb Raider's sweet. Remaster just came out. It was on sale.
To be fair, I was leaning to a different game, and then you were like, hey, I bought this, not to twist your hands, but I got this. Like, oh no, Tomb Raider's fun. I actually have that as well.
Wait, what was the other option other than this game?
I was gonna make you buy the Duck Detective.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah. So we ended up with Tomb Raider collection. For the better or worse, I don't know. I'm not sure. I guess you'll have to stick around to find out what we feel about this first entry in a massive franchise.
If you see Duck Detective dropping tomorrow, it means this game is terrible and I wanted to do something else. But we're here anyway, so we get to talk about, like Tyson alluded to, Tomb Raider for the PlayStation. It's a thing. It's a thing. It was developed by Core Design. Sales. This game went on to win several industry awards and is considered to be one of the greatest video games ever made. That was a thing I found on the internet. That was a sentence that the internet told me about. And I was like, I'm going to include this. It is one of the best-selling games for the PlayStation with 7 million units sold worldwide. And it remains one of the best-selling titles in the Tomb Raider franchise until the 2013 reboot.
Yeah, pretty landmark game. Started the whole franchise. I mean,
Yep.
This is one of the games that PlayStation built their empire off of for the launch the PlayStation and all that kind of good stuff. But is it good? We'll see.
Is it good? Yeah, I'm trying to really parse my words. It was an experience, that's for sure. It was released October 25th, 1996. That date is, we'll look more into that in just a second. How long to beat has this game at? Oh, I didn't write that down. How long do you think this game takes? You were to guess, over under
1,000,000 years.
10 hours.
If you know what you're doing, I bet you it's longer. I bet you this is like a 15, maybe 20-hour game.
What?
Maybe.
It takes 15 to 20 hours per game. Huh. Wow, that's amazing.
Wow.
That was a hell of a shot. How long to beat has this game at? No, that's not the one I want. Ugh. The naming mechanics of this game is just like, I think it's 15 and a half hours. Cool. All right.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. Well, it's there's Tomb Raider, and then there's the 2013 Tomb Raider. So I always have to type in Tomb Raider PSX.
Yeah. Well, I'm just like, but like, you couldn't have called the other one something else, I guess. No, sure, whatever. We're to eBay.
Tomb Raider. I don't know.
Original price of this game. I didn't get that down. I should have. I probably could have found something somewhere. Anyways, probably cheaper because PlayStation. That was one of the lures. It was a cheaper console when it was released. Discs, because they're discs, not as expensive to make, so probably a little bit cheaper. Anyways, eBay price. You can get a copy of this game for about $60 right now. But I think that's like the greatest hits. So finding that black label might set you back a little bit more. And on eShop. I don't think it's available anywhere. I don't think PlayStation does that. They might have like a PSN something catalog online store. I don't know. And the remaster. Sometimes it's on sales. So that's for like, I think I paid it like maybe $40 for these 3 games.
Yeah, I feel like they released it digitally first, and then the physical copy was released later. Because I actually had this game digitally, and then I went and bought it physically, as I always do with my games, because I'm a psychopath. And I like wasting money. But it's yeah, I think you could probably find it digitally on sale for like 20 to 35 Canadian pesos.
Okay.
So.
Nice. Okay. All right. And then from there we go. Oh, where to play? So you can get this game on a Sega Saturn, the MS-DOS, the PlayStation, the N-Gage, Pocket PC, iOS, or Android. And I guess now in the remastered collection. So,
yeah,
all modern consoles.
Yeah, exactly. Could you imagine playing this on the N-Gage? We thought, not to spoil things, but if you think the controls are clunky in this version, holy boy, I couldn't imagine an N-Gage.
I was thinking playing it on my iPad.
Okay. I couldn't imagine it.
Yeah.
I could not imagine it.
Like, what do you think it's worth? Okay, we're gonna tangent here, people. I don't think this is gonna be the longest episode in the history of the show. So we're gonna do this. So Tomb Raider on my phone. What do you think that's gonna cost, and would it be terrible?
$13 or $12.99, and 100% it's terrible. Because this game needs precise controls, and it is the clunky old tank control design. Even though I'm pretty sure Mario 64 came out before this, game designers were stupid, and they refused to just copy good platforming, and they were like, no, let's have broken jank. Here's broken jank. Do you like broken jank, everyone? But it's got boobs in it, so I feel like if this didn't have boobs, would anyone care?
So on the plus side, you can't play it on your iPhone, so that's exciting.
Oh, thank goodness!
Yeah.
Thank goodness, because that's literally just like, if you end up in hell, so you can play all the video games.
I was gonna say, I was like, because I'm feeling generous and it's Christmas time. If you're listening to this, send us an email. I'll send you a code, and you could have it on your phone because I want to spread misery this year. Okay, so I can't do that. Anyways, now that we know kind of. Essentially what we're doing, we're looking at Tomb Raider. Before we get into this, though, I like to travel back in time. I was alive during this time. I was a little guy. I knew about video games. I watched TV. I even had some video games. Can you believe it? Wow, they even let little kids have video games? Oh, maybe. But I like to be like, what was going on in the world pop culturally? What can I reference? What do I have some type of totem, right? If we want to look at like Inception, we can get back to that time. So you can be like, oh, that's what was going on. So we're going to jump into our patented Wayback Machine. Travel back to October 25th, 1996. See what was going on in the world of pop culture. So we start with looking at the top TV shows. So in 1996, the top TV shows were Seventh Heaven, Dead Man's Walk, The Daily Show, Frasier, The Drew Carey Show, Third Rock from the Sun, Whose Line Is It Anyways, and Everyone Loves Raymond.
That's some 90s TV for you.
Yeah.
Yuck.
Yeah. I feel like Third Rock from the Sun
they're all
is
fine. Like,
yeah.
Drew Carey Show's fine, Frasier's fine, The Daily Show's fine, Seventh Heaven's fine. It's like, it's just not good. As a kid, when these shows were on, I was bored looking for The Simpsons.
True.
So,
and I mean, like, lots of the shows, like Everyone Loves Raymond, or Everybody Loves Raymond, Drew Carey Show. I mean, they're just like, Seinfeld was successful, let's copy that.
Yep. And now we get to live with it.
Yeah,
for forever, because that's just like, sometimes they still make shows like this today,
yeah, like, come on, that's people will always wonder, where did the host of Price is Right come from? Well, he once had a TV show, and everyone's gonna be like, where did the voice of Sid the Sloth come from? Be like, oh, he had a TV show once. Like, you know, like, these are questions that kids are asking nowadays. Everyone's walking around in the playgrounds being like, Sid the Sloth, Price is Right, what happened? So now you know.
Yeah.
1996, so almost 30 years ago, that's what was up. Top cartoons that debuted this year were Arthur, Blue's Clues, Hey Arnold, Dexter's Lab, Stickin' Around, and Beast Wars.
Yeah, very 90s.
I love Beast Wars
stuff.
So much.
Yeah, I think we watched lots of Beast Wars because, I mean, Dexter's Lab was okay.
Yeah.
I didn't love Hey Arnold. I'd watch it if it's on. I think I was a little bit too old for Blue's Clues at the time.
Yeah, Hey Arnold, and what's the other one? Ed, Ed, and Eddie. Those shows just don't have any appeal to me. I'm just like, I don't care about these ghetto-ass looking motherfuckers. Like, getting them off my TV.
Yeah, and it's just like Loud, the TV show, or I feel like Hey Arnold's like Doug 2.0. But,
Yeah.
boring kids need TV shows too. Sometimes they're like, oh no, my baseball went over the fence. Let's watch an episode about this.
Oh my god, is that why Doug and Hey Arnold are so popular? Because honestly, the amount of people that are like, oh, Hey Arnold, I like that show. There's a lot of boring ass people out there. Huh.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
Oh, you don't get 40 spin-offs of NCIS if
Yeah.
you are an exciting person.
It's, I mean, they do say like some of the best TV shows are like Law and Order. Like Law and Orders are just the best. They've made them for like 50 years. It's just the same thing, like they don't want people don't want new things. They just want different Law and Order. So, I mean,
they want Doug, but for adults.
Yeah, AI has an easy job in the future. That's exciting. Top movies around this time. So this week you could see High School High, Sleepers, and Romeo and Juliet.
Okay.
Yeah. Still in
Those are
theaters,
movies.
you could see The First Wives Club, D3, The Mighty Ducks, and The Ghost and the Darkness.
Okay, like some watchable things in here. I mean, I'm not going to complain if like D3 or Ghost in the Darkness are on.
Yeah, I included that D3 just for you. I had to maybe go back a little further. And if you waited a week or two, you could see Ransom, Space Jam, and The English Patient. Oh, and then if you wait a couple more weeks, you get Jingle All the Way and Star Trek First Contact.
Okay, there's some stuff here.
Yeah.
I mean, the first Space Jam's enjoyable. The newest one, not so much.
It's just the same. I don't know, there's one part that's funny in the new one. I like when... What the hell is it? It's like the clock guy, Dame Time comes out, and then Granny does something, and like LeBron looks at Bugs Bunny, he's like, she is the one! Because she's doing like Matrix moves. That was funny.
Okay. I've watched it once, and I feel like I can't remember anything.
That part made me and my wife both laugh like independent. We were both like chuckling at it, and I was like, ha! One good joke. There you go.
There you go.
The problem is Bill Murray wasn't in it, though. So that's the issue with Space Jam, is Bill Murray.
Also, Newman. What's his name?
Something White, or Paul something. Yeah. No, Paul White is the Big Show. Wayne Knight.
Wayne Knight.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And Jingle All the Way is funny. I mean, it's kind of one of those movies where I end up watching it during the holiday season. So
Perfect.
Very
and
fitting.
Paul White or The Big Show's in Jingle All the Way. That's why I was confused. Perfect. And top video games released in November of 1990. Or October. I might have went November on this one. That's good times. Heroes of Might and Magic, Mortal Kombat, WWF In Your House, Twisted Metal 2, and NBA Live, 1997.
Yeah, I can see why Tomb Raider was a popular game.
Oh, yes. Yeah. No. Yep. The landscape was, well, then 64 came out in September, so you could add Mario 64.
Yeah, and if you didn't, you were playing a very frustratingly platform game that has
3D platforming is terrible. And everyone with N64 is sitting with their little cartridge, and they're like, this is stupid. All CDs are better. And they're like, I might be playing the greatest platformer ever made. But yeah, you're right. I'm stupid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. And it's sad how they nailed the graphics, or they nailed the controls. And there's so many games. They're like, either they eventually just copied Mario 64 controls, or they ended up making a bad controlling game. And in this game, we have the latter. Holy moly. But maybe that's going to be a lot of the negativities and thoughts and opinions of this game. But yeah, my goodness.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we're kind of at the same point with that one. So we'll get through the development details, and then we can complain, I guess. Development details of Tomb Raider. The initial concept for Tomb Raider was created by Toby Gard, who was allowed to start on the project after he was done with BC Racer for the Sega CD. The development team grew to 6 people in the first 6 months, while they decided to make an adventure game, but use a 3D world like that of Virtua Fighter. The development lasted 6 months, full of overtime and lots of deadlines. They initially wanted to make the main character an Indiana Jones type, but they feared lawsuits, so they decided to make a male and female character. But ultimately, that'd be twice the work, so they opted to just make a female character. They modeled the character after Tank Girl and deliberately gave her big boobs to attract young male gamers. Although I did watch a video last night, and Toby Gard did say that he accidentally increased her bust size by 1.5 because he accidentally hit a button, and then just no one would let him undo that work. Really, Toby? You really think that's what happened? It was an accident?
Oh, yeah. I just so happened to be messing around with the bust multipliers.
Oh, yeah, like, if it was her biceps, maybe. You know, she's just like a normal proportioned person with giant biceps. I'd be like, oh, yeah, that makes sense, sure. But, like, yeah, it's weird that her boobs got much bigger. The game's levels were based on that of Prince of Persia. They wanted to ground the action by having lots of enemies to kill and limiting the number of humans that Laura would fight. A plan that made it into the final product was using enemy placement to shift the atmosphere from pure action adventure to a horror-like tone. The team consciously set the story in real archaeological locations representing several cultures. They did a lot of research on the Incans, the Egyptians, and ancient Greeks. The game was developed for the Sega Saturn, MS-DOS, and PlayStation. The game's engine was built from the ground up. This included using a lot of motion capture to help render fluid character movements.
Yeah, and I can see, like, some of the animation is pretty awesome in this. And the world's very fun-ish to run around into until you have to platform. And then it gets frustrating because I feel like they did not give a lot of leeway on things. So we played this game and we had, like, on the modern remaster, you essentially can save wherever, so you can save scum the heck out of this game. And I recommend doing so because there's a lot of times where you just miss a jump, you take fall damage, and you instantly die, and you go back to your save spot. I couldn't imagine save points.
Oh, yeah.
Because that would just be like, why? Especially when you give us no leeway in platforming, where, like, I had to, like, almost pick out the pixels that I was supposed to have my front foot on before I started to run.
Yes.
And do a jump. It's like, this is excessive. I feel like we could have maybe made this a lot more easy, or at least made the jumping more responsive. But we don't have that here.
No.
We have a clunky tank control mess with a delayed jump.
Yes.
Where until I just learn to just hold that jump button, and she'll jump when she feels like it.
Yep.
And don't forget to hold that the grab button, because if you don't grab the thing, you just bounce off it and fall down, and it's a good time.
Oh, yeah, it's a thing. Are we on the control section?
Yeah, we're on control.
Yeah, they suck. That's what I wrote. They suck. Sometimes I, like, try and break it down, and I was like, this does this, and this does that. Like, no, they just are kind of terrible. So, I don't feel like being more concise or spending more time elaborating on just the frustration of the tank control. And, oh, baby, they did build this game on a grid system, and, like, that grid system is monumental. It really changed gaming. Having Laura jump around on all those squares.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, the controls. So in the modern, there's the classic controls, which are your standard tank controls. And, you know, Laura is a clunky turd to move, because I think, like, you have to hold you hold a walk button, or you will just walk off an edge or whatever, which is, like, that's fine, but it's not consistent with, like, the steps. So you'll just sometimes, if you aren't holding that button, you'll just wander off a thing, even though you're like, I just tapped up. Why did I have to jump, like, 6 feet forward?
Yeah.
It's god awful. And then there's the modern controls, which makes it control a little bit closer to how a modern game would work.
But my issue with that is you would switch between them, and all of a sudden my jump button's different, my action button's different, like the outline is different of the buttons, and now, like, there's sometimes I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, I'd switch between them because, yeah, maybe tank controls are a bit better for platforming, and modern controls are a bit better for combat. Well, you switch between them, and then I'm like, I don't know how to do anything anymore because I keep jumping around.
Even like the fire gun button, one's an R button and the other one's like an X button, and it's like, why is it like this? Why I understand the developers were trying to say, here, we're going to stay truthful, and they have a cool thing where you can press a button and it'll flip between the old graphics and the new graphics, and that was kind of fun.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just like, it's so frustrating. This game is, there was times where I had to do very precise jumping, and I think we'll get into kind of during the walkthrough, but there's a certain level where essentially this game goes from like, I'm having an okay time and I'm kind of managing, to this is the most unfun, miserable experience.
Yeah. And
Tomb Raider fans, that's one of their favorite levels, and I'm like, I don't understand why you people hate yourselves, because this at the same time, like, you make a jump, like, drop and do not touch another button. Wait till you land, slam your finger onto that walk button, get yourself repositioned back, and then try the next jump. And if you don't do that, you're going to just jump. Either not, you're just going to, like, don't jump, you're just going to wander off, because Laura has this horrible delayed. And it took me, like, 2, 3, 4 levels where I like, okay, I'd tap, and that doesn't work. And then you tap, and that doesn't work. No, you got to hold the jump button to actually jump, and has about not a second delay, but almost a whole second delay. It is unbelievably terrible. And I can't believe even with the modern controls, they didn't just fix that. But I guess this game is a clunky mess. So they decided to stay truthful to the clunky mess that is Tomb Raider 1. So
yeah, no, it is.
That's my rant about controls.
It's a kind of, it just reminds me of like what I imagined. I've never been a PC gamer. I've never had a computer that could probably play video games, because we were always kind of broke ass when it came to computers as when we were like younger, right? I never got into them. I always had a console. I always thought the consoles were better. Getting into this seems like the PC master race, just trying to like gaslight me into telling me an experience. Like, but look, Laura looks more like a person than Mario, and Mario's 64, so the graphics are better. And look, there's a lion. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't care about those things. I don't care about those things at all. You can't play the game. The game's terrible. It doesn't handle well. It's frustrating. It sucks to life. It like, the movement isn't fluid. It feels like she moves just absolutely just horrendous in this experience. I mean, other than, I'm glad they added boobs to her, because I don't think this game would have footing on just merit alone of playing, right?
100%.
Oh, it's incredibly frustrating. It sucks. And like I said, controls, they suck. They suck. So we'll get a bit more into it as we kind of get into the review. But yeah, they're frustrating. First memories. So we look at this, and we're like, man, I remember this game came out, and I spent this birthday money on it, and it was a thing. So for myself, I remember the PlayStation coming out in 1995, and it was kind of more of like a mature console for adults, right? I was fine with my Super Nintendos and maybe my N64 at that point, because again, my boy Mario was there. I'm not about this whole adult thing, it's just a little guy. It had a more intense advertising than kind of the Sega Nintendo. I remember them seeing kind of a bit more, I don't know, mature. Actually, no, they were just like randomness. If I remember correctly, like a Sony PlayStation commercial would come on, and you'd be like, wow, I want to play that game. It was great. Did you see? It was just a man digging a hole in a yard. And like, that'd be the commercial. You'd be like, what? Like, he's just digging, and then like some explosion happens. You're like, PlayStation! Yeah,
or there'd be like, here's boogers, here's snot, here's bodily
downtown
fluid.
Some guy fucking like tweaking out in the back alley, and it's just because like he needs to get more PlayStation, because he's now like a meth addict for PlayStation. You're like, oh shit, that was edgy. Oh, okay. But I do know that Laura was everywhere, right? She, I think, owns a record for appearing on the most gaming magazine covers ever, right? A large-breasted, sexy character was a shock to the gaming industry, or at least on the playground, and she became very, very popular. I played through the opening stage a few times on a demo disc. It seemed fun, but I always remember dying at the bear. I don't know how, because like this time I fell also into the same pit where the bear was, and I just like shot him 3 times and he died. So,
but I feel like we actually know how to pull out guns. So I feel like we probably just didn't know how to like pull out guns in that game.
Yeah, that's fair. But on that, I basically avoided this franchise outside of once Tyson and my cousin bought a PlayStation 2. It was called like a game for the PlayStation 2. It was like Angel of Death or something. I maybe saw one of the movies. And I think I maybe played one of the newer ones, because I had like a PlayStation membership at one point, and like it was a free game. So this is the first time I've ever played through the first 4 levels of the game. Cool.
Yeah.
Yourself? Do you have a story?
remember came out, everybody obviously had a big old crush on her because we're like, oh my gosh, video game girl, and she's got boobs. We're all for this. Being like a child at the time, I was less than 10, so it was, I think, honestly, minus the appeal of Pretty Girl, it was not a franchise that I ever touched or played. Like, I bought Angel of Darkness, and I remember everybody's like, oh, this is such a glitchy mess and so frustrating. And I remember struggling and having a horrible time playing through it, and you would die because, again, I think I had save points or whatever, or maybe you could save kind of wherever, but there was like a few jumps where like I didn't know that you were supposed to hold like the grab button, so I was trying to do this jump, and again I was like, how am I supposed to do this? And I just gave up and got frustrated. And I think years later, it's like, oh, there's a hold button in this game. So like I had a bit of experience with Tomb Raider games kind of going into this, and I actually beat the 2013 game and started the Shadows of the Tomb Raider.
Okay.
I was having a lot of fun with it. It's like, oh, these games are fun. I'm sure the first ones aren't going to be terrible. And then, I bought them when it came out digitally, and I was like, oh, these games are an experience. This is very retro. But I was like, whatever. It's kind of not for me. But and then you picked it. I'm like, oh, hey, what about this one? Because it was my choice. And I was like, sure, why not? Sounds like a good time. So played it, and I remember getting kind of frustrated as I was going, and I ended up getting to the level that you got stuck on. Was it St. Francis's Follies?
Yep.
Or yeah. And I remember getting stuck on it. It's like, okay, I was kind of being able to just like muddle my way through of it. Sure, I'd miss a secret here and there, but you're like, there's velociraptors, there's T-Rexes. It's kind of fun. It's clunky, but it's doable. And then you get to that level, and essentially.
So wait, this is our first memories. So why are you?
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
First memories, it came. I know it existed. Might have played the demo disc.
Perfect. Yeah, I guess technically your first memory could be playing this playthrough, but it's supposed to be like, and then I played this. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, that's kind of the background.
Okay.
Everybody. So
cool. Sweet. Fun. All right. This game. Story. So Laura Croft, daughter of Lord Hensingly Croft, was raised as an aristocrat from birth. After attending finishing school at age 21, Laura's marriage into a wealth had seemed assured. But on her way home from a skiing trip, her chartered plane had crashed deep in the heart of the Himalayas. The only survivor, Laura learned how to depend on her wits and stay alive in a hostile condition, a world away from her sheltered upbringing. 2 weeks later, when she walked into a village of the Tokabari, her experiences had a profound effect on her. Unable to stand the claustrophobic, suffocating atmosphere of upper-class British society, she realized that she was only truly alive when she was traveling alone. For the following 8 years, she acquired her innate knowledge of ancient civilizations across the globe. Her family soon disowned her prodigal daughter, and she turned to writing to fund her trips. Famed for discovering several ancient sites of profound archaeological interest, she made a name for herself by publishing travel books and detailed journals of her exploits. Archaeologicalist adventurer Laura Croft is approached by a mercenary named Larson, who is working for a businesswoman named Jacqueline Natla. Natla hires Laura to acquire the Scion, a mysterious artifact buried in the tomb of a cantaloupe within the mountains of Peru.
Yeah. The Tomb Raider lore is kind of bonkers, which kind of makes me like, I want to play through this because I kind of always enjoy bonkers and crazy things, because in the later games there's like angels and demons and stuff, and you're like, what a random hodgepodge. I love it. So it's there. I definitely did not get that from the game that I played. I'm like, I didn't skip many cutscenes. So that must have been included in the manual, because I did not flip through that thing at all.
The one paragraph was, the other ones I found somewhere on something. Yeah. I mean,
Gotcha.
It is weird in this one how like she's like, oh, I'm not going to be rich, but yet she lives in a big rich manor and has a butler. So Seems like
seems
like you didn't really, and you lived in Croft Manor, so it seems like you kind of didn't disassociate yourself so much with your money, Laura. Maybe you're a bit more pompous than you make yourself out to be.
Yeah, it's a little ridiculous,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
we're not playing this game for the story, even though I'm playing this game for the story. So.
Yeah, the story's a thing. That's what happens. So then we go and we travel around the world looking for the Scion. Ooh, There are 5 sections in this game. And they're broken down into kind of different little areas. So the first area is the city of Vilcabamba. And you've got the caves, the city of Vilcabamba, the Lost Valley, the tomb of Kolapek, and St. Francis's Folly. So this is the part of the game I played. I didn't beat St. Francis's Folly, but I played this part. And then I didn't play the rest of the game.
Well, St. Francis's Folly is enough to make anyone want to quit this game.
Yeah. It's kind of terrible. Second area is Palace Midas. So we have the Colosseum, the Palace Midas, and then the Cistern. Okay, all right. And then when you finish that, we go to the Obelisk of Kahum, which you see the levels of Tomb of Teocana, City of Kamun, and Obelisk of Kamun. And
this is where I got to, where I was like, I'm done. It's like, let's want to record. I'm like, yep, I've had enough of this.
Perfect. So that means you didn't get to see the fourth area, so the Sanctuary of the Scion, which sees the Sanctuary of the Scion, Natla's Mind, and Atlantis. And then finally, the last area is the Great Pyramid, which sees Atlantis, Part 2, the Great Pyramid, and the end.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if I got a few plane rides coming up, maybe I can keep chipping away at it. But yeah, this one's it's frustrating. This game, the controls make this game a chore to navigate, and I think especially St. Francis's Folly, it just is so demanding of pixel perfect jumping that it just makes it just so unpleasant to play. If this was your only game, I could see why you could just play this again and again and again and again, but you'd probably stay up all night trying to just beat a simple level, which, had they programmed it correctly and actually laid out the levels correctly, it'd be a quick, breezable time, but you are failing and struggling, so it's going to take you like 6 to 8 hours every single level the first time you do it, until you kind of know the little tricks and stuff. And it doesn't matter how well I explore everything, I seem to always miss a secret or 6 in every single level. And you're like, where are these secrets? There
was one of the parts. What's the one? I guess the Lost. It might be the Tomb of. No, I guess it'd be the Lost Valley. I think I explored literally every inch of that before I found like the little door before the waterfall. And they're like, you got 2 of the 8 pickups. 2 of the 8.
Yeah.
2 of the 8. Where are these others? Like, just like they must be just they're hidden away in like these stupid little areas. Ugh.
Oh, well, and in the one, so in Palace Midas, just a quick spoiler, there's like the game's busted. So you actually, to like get up, like you can't actually jump up to get, like, you'll see a little health pack on this like little higher spot. You actually need to clip through the thing and hold jump while she continually jumps, and she'll continually like glitch yourself into the block, so you can get to the top of it, and that's an achievement. Oh, hey, you figured out this bug, and you're like, oh my god, no, bad game. Do not make bugs platforming a thing in your game. That's so terrible. Yeah. But obviously, the people over at Core Design didn't really care, because this game is not fun. At the end of the day.
Well, and like one of the videos I was watching, right, just as I'm watching it, a guy was like, it's kind of tough, and then at a certain point the game just gets like stupidly tough, and then the last 2 levels are just the designers trying to trick you and kill you, and like they have little traps, and like, oh, you step on the switch, oh, you're dead. You shouldn't have stepped on that switch. I know you stepped on switches all game, but like it's just unfair, and like, oh, now a boulder hits you. And I'm watching this and I'm like, why did anyone ever play this game and have fun? Like, this game just sucks. This game's terrible.
But if this was the only game you had,
but like you have a PlayStation. They're $20. Like even at launch, they were cheap. Like go buy another one. Get a job delivering papers for a weekend. Go buy 2 more games.
I agree.
Oh, it's just,
I agree, because this game was just a miserable experience, especially with the controls. Like, I would have to.
It's a very
if
interesting, like going back and seeing how horrendous this experience was. Like, absolutely, just one of the worst retro games. It feels like they took an NES game that has bad controls and made it 3D, and then just they were like, this is fine. I'm like, no. But we've had like good controls since like the Super Nintendo, and even in the Sega, there was some like decent like, no, we're pretty satisfied with what we did. We really think that this platformer here, it's gonna hold up. It's pretty good. Okay. All right. So with that, because I knew I would beat this game, and other watching some videos, I was like, I think we're just gonna do kind of a review and kind of talk our way through this, and kind of hopefully reiterate what our feelings are by the end. So we're maybe being a little bit scatterbrained here, but hopefully we'll be a little more concise, and you can be like, oh, okay, that's the experience. It's frustrating. It's all over the place. That's kind of where we're at. Review of this game. So what's your favorite part? Myself, I said I loved the first few levels of this game. They were tough and confusing, but at least fair. And then by level 5, I felt the game was too tough. And there's 15 levels. And I was like, what's my incentive to continue to play this game? Nothing. Absolutely nothing, right? Had they kept kind of the regular game difficulty manageable, right? Here's some jumps. Here's the route you take. It's not the toughest thing. Yeah, we need you to learn these core skills. Run jump. Standing jump. Push some blocks. Cool. Extra. Awesome. Oh, you want extras? You want secrets? You want health upgrades? You want more guns? That's where they like kick up the difficulty. And I'd be like, that's fair. I can still play through the game. I can experience adventure, but man, it'd be kind of fun if I had a shotgun, or like, oh, that extra cool alien laser gun that she gets. Oh, I should have went for that, right? I'd probably be more inclined to find your secrets rather than just like, nah, everything's too tough. Now what are you going to do? And I'm like, and the other part is you can, with the new control, switch between kind of modern game design. So like kind of like she looks like 3D versus block version. I like the classic view more than I like the modern, because the modern one, they just like everything's super dark and shadowy and you can't tell where things are and you miss stuff. At least with the crappy PS1 graphics, things are colored. And I'm like, oh, that's a ledge. Okay, cool.
Yeah. I was actually having a good time kind of flipping back and forth, because there's something about like grassy vines that are all pixelated, and you're just like,
yeah,
they just had to be more creative. This just like it's much more interesting to look at, and it's kind of much more appealing, and sometimes it's easier to see ledges of what you can kind of climb on and what you can't really climb on, whereas the modern game just like all looks samey and brown. But I mean, obviously people are gonna like the new modern style, because it's like, oh, that's the lore we imagined, not this pixelated version. But
sure.
yeah.
Well, and some people are like, I don't want to call them simple, but some people are like, oh, the graphics are bad, this game sucks, and that's like their review of experiences. And I'm like, but graphics could be a part of the game, right? Graphics can tell the story. They can help kind of build a world. So maybe there's a graphical choice. Maybe the graphics being good or bad, I don't know. They don't matter. But like, this is also the generation of kids that went from, like, I come from the generation where I have Link's Awakening, or sorry, A Link to the Past. I'm like little guy running around on like my 2D screen to Ocarina of Time. That's one generational gap. Now, like, look at Horizon Zero Dawn on the PlayStation 4 compared to the PS5 graphics, and it looks exactly the same. And I'm like, people spend $1,000 for a new console to make things look exactly the same. Oh no, but it renders and the frame rate's better and it doesn't drop out.
Yeah, it's splitting hairs here. You could go buy I think you can go buy a old disc-based PlayStation 5 for like $550 right now.
Yeah.
Or you can buy the PlayStation Pro with a disc, or without a disc, for $900. I don't see what double the price is when I'm like looking at that, and you're like,
literally, because the Pro has, you can like manage, and it has better rendering or better frame rates.
It supposedly holds the frame rate slightly better in some games, and I'm like, well, those are badly optimized games.
Yep.
I'm not going to play those badly optimized games, because one of my least favorite games of the year last year was I'm sure it would run totally like dog shit on both systems because it's a badly optimized game, but people like it. And unless you're a certain developer, because if you're a certain developer, then they like to dump on you. But if you're like one of the developers that people like, then you can just release dog shit and nobody cares. So
I feel like this is just like a very like we hate gaming podcast, but I swear we like video games. It's just I feel like Tomb Raider is indicative of like general population. That's the only thing I can think of. The only reason that Tomb Raider survived is what? Because she has boobs. That's it.
Yeah, well,
she had 3 games on the PlayStation and like a continued franchise.
My favorite part of this game is the lore.
Oh, okay.
I think the lore is batshit insane. So if you got through the end of this game, you would be like, it's kind of cool. There's kind of like there's T-Rexes. There's Midas touch like turning into gold. That's a cool death and that level. So there's these cool there's cool moments, but the gameplay, because we play video games for the gameplay, that's frustrating. But I think like the stuff around the gameplay is fun and interesting. So I feel like that's where this game kind of kept its head above water, because if you played Mario 64 or then you played this, 99% of the world's population is going to be like, I'm never touching Tomb Raider again. I will take Mario 64 any day of the week.
Well, and I do wonder if it was kind of that they're trying to do too much, right, with this experience. They want to make an action, like a platformer, a tough action or platformer, but then they also are like, but we need guns because guys like guns and boobs, so we need to put the gunplay. And it does seem like the two parts of the games are kind of like disconnected, and I don't know, they didn't make a good mix in this one, and we're at our favorite parts and we're just complaining. So maybe we'll move on to something that we can't complain about. Maybe most memorable part. So what is the most memorable part of Tomb Raider 1? Is it Laura's boobs, Laura's outfit, her stupid glasses that she wears, the CGI graphics, the wolves in the cave, the bear in the pit, platforming through the cave, the T-Rex valley, the random guy who tries to kill you with a gun, the hard-ass puzzles, the awkward platforming, the skateboard boss. Yeah, there's a boss at one point who just rides around on a skateboard. I don't know if it's explained. I think it's just, I don't know, something. The zombie centaurs, the demon monsters that we start fighting towards the end of the game, the alien pulsing lair with the eggs.
I think the most memorable thing is her design.
Yeah.
Like, it's a timeless design, even to a point where when modern games changed her design, people were like, no, don't ruin it. It's like, and you look at it and you're like, okay, guys, she's kind of a cartoony, like,
yeah,
she's a cartoon caricature of what a woman is. And it's like, but that's the most memorable thing. That's why she was on all the most magazines of all time with a single character. And you're like, yep, because people like that fake plastic design. So
true.
I think the most memorable thing.
For me, it'll always be, I think, Tomb Raider. I always think zombie centaur that shoots lasers at you. That's what Tomb Raider is to me, right? And it always will be, but I'm a purist, I guess. No, of course not. For myself, of course, it's the design. The one thing I will stand out, though, is beginning of this game, man, it's awesome. I stood up and I championed the first hour of Silent Hill, saying that was one of the finest gaming, like, horror experiences I had. The first maybe 3 levels of this game, like up until the T-Rex fight, it's actually really good. It's fair. There's challenges. Yeah, there's some pits you could fall down, but like the consequences are, you fight a bear. You get a health pack, here's a bear. Climb out, go around, That's what the consequences are. You fall down this pit, it's going to be an inconvenience. It's not like, you're dead. You missed a jump, you're dead, because that happens a lot too, because there's fall damage in this game. And I'm like, you can't have fall damage in a platformer that's hard. Or it's like, you got to pick one, right? Like Mario falls, he gets a little bit of damage, but he's not dead. You just grab 2 coins and you move on with your life, right? But the first little part of this game, it was actually pretty solid. I was actually having fun, right? You get into this valley, there's some dinosaurs attack you, and then the music changes, this T-Rex comes out. Now, the gameplay and combat in this is just basically you just walk backwards slowly and shoot him, and he'll die before he ever gets to you. But, I mean, up into that part, though, I was like, this is a really cool experience. We have cool dinosaurs in this underground city. Cool. I'm excited to like see more. What more do I get from this game? Then it falls off. But I could definitely see being a kid. Anyone could do that, right? Like it'd be an achievable goal if you had this game for a weekend. You'd definitely have experienced the T-Rex fight, regardless of kind of skill level. And that was pretty fun. And it's a great hook. And I definitely could see why people keep playing. So I will give them some praise at the beginning of this game. It's done fairly well. They just like arcade mentality. That's the only thing I could think of. Is most of these people must have come from the arcade. Well, I guess especially if they were working on like Sega projects, maybe that's what it was. And they're like, it has to be tough because kids need to play quarters to beat this game. And they're like, cool. And it wasn't until like they're releasing it and they're like, and this will be a home console game, and everyone's like, oh my god, what have we done? Is that it?
Yeah.
Is that it? The arcade mentality of like games are tough, not fun. Maybe.
I think 3D platforming was still in its early stages. Like the adventuring is fun.
Yeah.
Like trying to explore a new area, what's behind that core, what's behind this waterfall.
I suppose. So you're saying
where does this tunnel take me? That's fun. And then as soon as you have to platform, you just go, oh no, because the jumping's inconsistent.
I guess. I mean, you're
where and it's so pixel perfect. You have to be like, no, my foot is in this right exact spot. I can press forward once, just a tap forward while holding jump, and then I can tap back, and it's like it's a mess.
So you're saying this is
As soon as
more
the platforming
adjacent to say like Crash or like Jersey Devil or Bugsy 3D, and that's why we praise Mario 64 for being such a landmark achievement, because they're like, they made 3D platforming not a chore.
Yeah, 100%. Well, even just compared to like Gex.
Yeah,
Gex 3D or whatever, like
that game sucks too. That platforming, that
it's
game's
horrible.
fucking terrible. Yeah,
exactly. And it's like, but it's because like everything kind of has this weird delay to it.
Yeah.
Whereas like with Mario, Nintendo was adamant of nailing that fluid design, and that's what Nintendo does better than everybody else. Is with platforming, you want it to be. You don't want a delay.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's more realistic if there's a delay or whatever the excuse is. It needs to be, I need to tap that button and it needs to jump when I say jump. And if it's not that way and I have to now adapt to like this delayed jump mechanic while trying to make precise platforms and do a jump, and it's like, it's garbage. And they should have just scrapped all that crap and just focused on like, if we're going to platform, it needs to be precise and not laggy. And it feels like this game is a laggy mess, and it feels like Laura controls like a tank, whereas like Mario doesn't control like a tank. Mario controls like Mario. You can run, jump, you can triple jump, boom, boom, boom. And that's like, you can do that within the first seconds of the game. And in this game, jumping up a 2-foot wall block can be a nightmare if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. No.
So when you just hold the jump button, she just jumps forward slightly until, now she jumps on. It's like, this game is just like the platforming, and if you're going to make that the main difficulty and the main driver of your puzzles, make it good, not delayed and messy.
Yeah.
But that's PlayStation platformers for you. So it's going to be an interesting one if we pick and choose more PlayStation platformers, because
we might have to be a bit more picky with
choosy.
Yeah, I think so. But the next two sections, least favorite criticisms, jumping in level 5, that's the level I got to, and I was like, this is terrible, and just trying to get across the room, I'm like, wow, that took me a weekend. Oh boy. And then criticism, the game feels old, it feels clunky. Unless you get really comfortable, with these controls and you want to put in the time and figure that out, you're going to have a bad time, right? I understand why developers played Tomb Raider and were like, horror games. We should make horror games with these controls because people would hate them. It would make them scary because I hate them. So I understand where the Resident Evil, where the Silent Hill kind of pulled those kind of things from, because oh boy, this needed more refinements, and it was just kind of a downside of the 3D world, right? There was some bad experiences out there. So do you have any other criticism that you haven't kind of mentioned, or a least favorite part or something you want to bring up before we kind of maybe end with a praise?
I wish the secrets weren't so secret, because it sure would be nice to have all the health packs be tucked away into a secret. So you're like, I could really use some ammo and health right now.
Yeah.
Okay, well then do this really monotonous, painful jumping sequence. And if you screw up once, all that health that you were trying to get, now moot.
Yeah. So
I don't know. I feel like give me more power-ups and stuff if you're going to be like this, or reduce the fall damage. I question who played this game.
Yeah.
The quality assurance. Where was it? I don't know. I feel like they all got fired or laid off or something.
Yeah. No, it's definitely there. So final praise. before we leave, I say I can see the potential this game has. It introduced one of the most powerful women in gaming. That's pretty awesome. The open worlds are huge. You know what? In terms of level design, yeah, you guys did a good job. If I could actually get around your levels and see all your little secrets, and maybe if you had a little bit of conveyance, because there was a couple times where I hit a switch and then a door opened and you could like hear it, and I'm like, I don't know where that door is though. And if I didn't have a walkthrough, I don't know if I would have found that room on that ledge or went to that door, right? Or made sure to do this sequence. So it is one of those games where they were missing things, right? And it was before, this is one of those games that people are like, you need to be able to show the player where they go next. I see. So I mean, we joke about the Mega Man, run over to that door. This is what happens if you don't have that. So careful what you wish for.
Yeah. I just praise. You know what? When this game, like you said, those first 3 couple levels, it's fun. It's fun to kind of go through it and just kind of muddle your way through it because you're like, it feels fair. But as soon as you get to St. Francis's Follies, and I literally was doing the jump that I thought I had to do, and I just kept failing at it, and then I ended up pulling up a Let's Play and be like, so what am I supposed to do? Like, what am I missing? And then I watched somebody, like the guy, fail at the jump like 25 times and then hit it, and I was like, so I'm supposed to make that jump somehow. And that's when I ended up switching between the modern and tank controls constantly, and like it was just, it was an accomplishment, and I'm happy I kind of got through as much of this as I did. But when it works, it's fun. When it doesn't work, it is super frustrating. The last thing you want to do is keep playing. So.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, ending of this game. So after killing the lady that hires us, apparently she was like the android that woke up in the desert at the beginning of the game. Whatever. Who turned out to be the monster. Okay. We must escape the exploding pyramid. It explodes as Laura escapes into the ocean and swims to her yacht.
Yeah. A little silly, but I'm assuming that she's in a bikini or something, and
no.
It's like, oh, see,
no, just her clothes. Yeah, it goes to her yacht, and then her yacht goes away. And you're like, I feel like the CGI in the game of Life on the PlayStation was almost as good as this, so that's pretty exciting. Current thoughts. This game does not hold up. It's hard to play without save states. Seems like torture. The first few areas are actually not bad. Kind of excited me to keep rolling, but then once you hit kind of that difficulty curve, the game gets way too unfair, tough, and just not fun to play. I watched the videos and saw what they asked me to do later in the adventure, and I can't imagine how long it would have taken me to save scum through this area. That's not really why I wanted to play this game. I didn't want it super tough. I don't know. I was like Tyson. I was like, give me some lore. Give me some experiences. Give me Laura picking up a staff, being like, is this Odin's staff? Cool. In the next game, she's like, I still have Odin's, whatever. I don't care. Give me treasure in her castle that she lives in that I can go look at or something from my adventure. I don't know. Something. It's just, it's not good. So current thoughts. Tyson, what are your current thoughts?
It sucks.
Yeah.
It's whenever I have to go into the menus and flip between the controls, between modern and tank, you're like, this is not a good sign for things. And even they are so incompetent, they even screw up the save thing. So when you press start and you press down, it takes you to
load. Yep.
Not save.
Now,
I don't know
fairness,
how you make, but the just like little things like that where like they can't even nail the save feature in this game.
True. Yeah.
Like, there's good ideas and there's some fun parts, but this game is a extremely flawed product. I cannot believe that this game launched a franchise.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if a game of this kind of quality kind of came out today, people would hate it and dump on it, and it would never be talked about.
This is like almost a tale of just incompetence. You made an incompetent game, but you made a girl with big boobs, and you succeeded as a result of your failures. You know, and like that's honestly almost what Tomb Raider, the franchise, comes down to, is boobs. Like, as stupid as that is, because if this game launched on its own, you give any other character, you put any other character in this, just a man, it's done. Like, no one is ever playing this game ever again talking about it. It's not a franchise. You've lost your job. So, I mean, you guys are very, very lucky that you accidentally gave her an extra 50% on her bust. Like, whoo, baby. That's probably maybe the luckiest thing that's ever happened in gaming, supposedly.
And maybe like one of the best marketing teams ever.
That's it.
Because
yeah.
they really marketed the heck out of a turd of a game to a point where like they made multiple games.
Yeah. Well,
like, they started a whole franchise.
It is funny though that
this game eventually did catch up with them though,
Yeah.
because the core design eventually had to sell off their rights to somebody else, and I forget who ended up getting it. But it's like
before this game came out, core design I think became Eidos Studios or something.
Right.
Yeah. So even while the game was technically it was developed by Core Design, and then once the game was finished, in between this and publishing, they became Eidos. So technically it was Eidos Studio, which still owns Lara Croft or like the Tomb Raider franchise. So
yeah, silly.
Yeah.
But it's like
again they failed into something. They failed into a merger that made them more successful. Like, oh boy. Oh, Toby, my boy, what have we done?
Really lucked out. If I had your luck, my friend, I wouldn't be where I am today.
No. Okay. What would I change? So, like I said, I kind of mentioned earlier, I think just a normal playthrough. The story, the A to B should be challenging. I'm fine with challenging. I'm not saying give me, I'll hold my hand. Don't give me the golden Donkey Kong that just beats the game for me, right? I don't need the golden Tanuki. I don't need the baby toy. But you got to give me something that's fair. That's just not unfair and tough and just mean for being mean's sake. Like that's not why I play video games, right? Like there are video games out there that you could just pull your hair out, right? Like there was a whole industry of just unfair, challenging platformers that like Super Meat Boy. People love that game. It's just tough, but like there is no story to Super Meat Boy. Whereas this game should have a story and a narrative, and like that's why I should be playing this game and checking out your cool levels. But I can't sell your stuff if it's too tough. So just tone down the difficulty on at least the normal part. Make the side stuff as hard as you want it to be. Right? I think that's completely fair and reasonable.
That's a solid one. I'm going with if I press the god dang jump button. Effing jump.
Oh, you want to jump? Wow, okay, all right. Sick.
No. You need to hold the jump button.
Oh no, I realize what you're saying.
We'll feel out when you want to jump. That's the chef's kiss. That's what you want in your platformer. Like, no. My change is can I press when I jump? Can I jump?
Yeah.
For Pete's sake?
That's
like
funny.
I know this is hard to program, but can we please not have a delay in the jump? My word, you buffoons.
So funny. Yes. So from that, we have an Are You Buying It? And then I think we're done talking about this game. We get into a cultural significance and go from there. So, are you buying it? Guys, we're talking about Tomb Raider. We mentioned it multiple times. We just didn't take the shirt off the issue. Nude Raider! An infamous part of Tomb Raider's history is a fan-made software patch dubbed Nude Raider. The patch was added to existing PC copies of the Tomb Raider game, causing Laura to appear naked. In 1999, Core Design considered taking legal action against the website that hosted nude pictures of Lara Croft, stating that we have a large number of young fans, and we don't want them to be stumbling across the pictures when they do general searches for Tomb Raiders. Eidos sent cease and desist letters to the owners of the newraider.com URL that hosted the patch to enforce the copyright. Sites depicting nude images of Lara Croft have been then ceased and desisted notices and shut down, and Eidos Interactive was awarded the rights to the Nude Raider domain name. Desist notice was a rumor stated that the game had a cheat code for Laura's nudity. Management did suggest adding it to the developers, but they refused. And as a response to the controversy, Core Design included a secret code in the sequence, allegedly a similar nude code. It, in fact, blows Laura up. Oh, neat.
Yeah, because you're allowed violence, but not nudity.
Yeah, we can blow her up, no problem. But, you see her naked? God.
You see those triangles?
What will the kids do?
That's the end of society.
Yeah.
As opposed to the couple things her getting mauled, eaten by a T-Rex, blown apart into pieces, turned into gold and dying.
Did you?
That's all.
Were you underwater and ran out of oxygen?
Yes.
She's underwater and she starts twitching, and you see her twitching and gasping for life, and then laying there lifeless or falling and breaking every bone in her body and laying there in a crumpled heap. But heaven forbid we see her butt. What are we doing?
that is unacceptable because not everyone has butts. You know that, right?
It's true. It's true.
Hide your shame.
It's true. Women that wear dresses don't have butts underneath. We all know that. Like, what are we? But
it's the dumbest thing.
Definitely something we should have mentioned when we bring up Tomb Raider. What is a big part of this game? It's really kind of how iconic she became despite herself, I guess, in a sense, right? And that was, I thought, kind of a good tie-in between gameplay, a little bit of the fan theories. There was always the cheats. Oh, did you find that cheat? No, it didn't exist. Apparently, it was a PC patch. So potentially somewhere out there, someone's older brother did have a PC game where she did get naked, and you just assumed it was every copy, and it found its way into the playground, and, well, boys will be boys.
Very much so.
And
it's a you can almost launch a whole franchise based on horny teenagers. Who would have figured?
Literally. I mean, we're like sitting here outraged, but that happens nowadays. I know what game was it? What's the one? BioShock Infinite came out. All the advertising had to be of the man and not of Elizabeth because they're like, oh no, girls on covers don't sell games. You need men and guns.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, there was actually a thing where like,
because young boys
games,
boys need the guns and that's their dick, and they need the dick. They need that because they're insecure with themselves. And if they're a girl, that means they're gay, and you can't be gay. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Because that was the stupid ideas at the time.
That's modern. That still happens in young boy culture. I imagine, like, you go to a playground and that's still being thrown about. Like, it's just absolutely, we're just silly. But again,
yeah.
But like, the nudity is the issue.
I know there was. Oh yeah, it was the Assassin's Creed games where you got to play as a girl in or the main. Everybody hated Assassin's Creed Valhalla because. Technically, the canon character you can choose man or female, but the canon character is a female, and that just outraged that unplayable franchise is ruined. The story was based around the girl character and not the guy character.
So
and
funny.
Apparently, there was a Ubisoft director or whatever who made them put a male character in because I don't want to run around as a girl. And it was like, that's literally what he thought.
Oh, I know.
So he was high enough up that he made them insert a male character. And they had to change the narrative because that guy's insecurities about playing a female character.
Sit there on your high horse.
Ridiculous.
What did a mainline Zelda game release this year?
It did.
How are the sales? Okay. Nothing great, though?
Yeah.
Essentially, they made Tears of the Kingdom in 2D, in 3D Zelda style, and 2D style, just like Link's Awakening. But it starred a girl, so guess what happens? No one bought it. They're like, I want to be Link.
Yeah.
I'm like, we're being dismissive of this like amazing game that Nintendo made because you're not Link? So it still happens. We're all still stupid. God damn it, we're dumb. Ugh. Did we miss anything about Tomb Raider? No. I mean, we missed playing the whole game, but the game kind of sucks, so no, we missed nothing.
Yeah, you know what? This is one of those games where I think we slap this sucker in skippable and move on.
Oh, we definitely already did our tiers list, maybe potentially, and like where it ends up after not even finishing it. I was like, yeah, no, this is exactly. And it's so funny. As I was playing it, I was like, this game reminds me of that one game, the game we put it like in front of on that list, because the list isn't coming out for like another like 11 days. Let's pretend like we can't say that, but. I was thinking that, and then in our episode, like our New Year's show, you literally say it goes right after this, and I was like, "Holy shit, that's exactly where it goes." So I'm glad that we've had this like similar gaming experience to the point where we can like pinpoint where these crappy games exist together. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Well, you play enough crappy games, and you can be like, you know what?
Figure it out.
This awful game reminds me of that other awful game.
Yeah. Cool. So with that, we have a cultural significance. Literally what Tomb Raider is literally why I made this segment, guys. So in this section, we look at game design, the lore, inspiration, turning points, interesting stories, talk how this game relates, give other examples, tie it all back together. And Lara Croft became a cultural phenomenon almost out of nowhere, based on just appearance alone. Obviously not gameplay, right? We kind of mentioned that. Good marketing campaign, tons of people wanted to look at her, talk about her. She was sexy. Was she too sexy? A little bit of sex sells too, and a little bit of like parents being like, "Don't play this game." Oh baby, that's just like print money in video game terms. She entered a very saturated video game market and became an icon almost immediately and became one of the most recognizable characters in video games, right? So a list that I pulled up from Games Radar of the top 10 most recognizable video game characters. We've got 10, Solid Snake, 9, Kratos, 8, Crash Bandicoot, 7, Link, 6, Master Chief, 5, Pac-Man, 4, Lara Croft. And the top 3, respectively, are Sonic, Pikachu, and Mario. And I'm looking at that list, and I was like, yeah, that's pretty accurate. That's a good list.
It is. That's not bad. I mean, especially like, so Crash Bandicoot, like, there hasn't been a Crash Bandicoot game in a few years. Yeah. But people still recognize that orange
the marketing campaigns of him standing outside of Nintendo being like, hey Mario, you suck.
Yeah,
that's it.
And Lara Croft has that look.
Yep.
That literally the game's mediocre, but if you have a character that people like, they'll suffer through it. They will suffer through it. So that's a solid list.
Yeah, no, and I thought that was pretty apt. I was expecting her to be like, maybe top 10. And when I saw her like above Pac-Man, I'm like, yeah, no. And she is just a very, not in gamers so much, but just in society as a whole. I think Tomb Raider, Lara Croft probably would hold up, right? Maybe it helps with like the Angelina Jolie movies that came out too, right? And the other movies. And it kind of does keep getting rebooted. It's had 3 films or something like that now, right? But that wasn't interesting. Of course, everyone knows her. But would be more interesting and fun. Oh, I see. Yeah, that was it. So I basically made this section at the end of the podcast for us to dive into these big topics. But I'm like, what do you do with this? Like marketing campaign of Tomb Raider? Other than some magazine covers, there was nothing super special, right? She just kind of had that look that everyone kind of attracted. She was the only big boobed girl in video games at the time, right? So she just basically entered a market, had something that no one else had. Boom, bada bing. That's about as complicated as it is, right? And I was like, what else can you do with this? What you can do with this, and I don't know if it's interesting to me. Maybe Tyson would like this. Tyson, do you want to look at 2002's GameFAQ character battle results and see what happened from this tournament?
I'm already looking at it.
Oh, I see. You already looked at it. Yeah. So you don't want to play a game where you have to like kind of like guess your way through it or something.
No, because there's many divisions. There's like a South. East,
I was gonna go like
division.
I was like North Division. I was gonna give you the round of 16, and you were gonna like talk your way through and see if you came to the same place. But because you were already looking at it, that means we have to go to the East Division, which Laura does pretty well in, right? And I figured this was something that we probably both voted in multiple times. We followed it pretty consistently, and do you want to just talk our way through it, knowing that we also have technically like a New Year's year-end show coming up. We're talking potentially about a James Bond movie in the new year, but also we could do like Tomb Raiders if that's something you're interested in. So knowing that our schedule might have a bit more content, maybe we just look at the East Division from the 2002 GameFAQ character battles and call it a day.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I mean, this episode's already pretty long, but if we want to go through this real quick, sure, why not?
Okay, cool. So in the East Division, we have Lara Croft coming in as a number 1 seed, going up against the 16th seed, Chop Chop Master Onion. She won by a score of 44,000 to 19,000. Okay, all right. In the 8-9 matchup, we see Ryo Hazuka, I don't know who that is, beating Guybrush Threepwood.
Oh. The guy from Shenmue versus the guy from Monkey Island series.
Okay, cool, sweet. At number 5, we have Chrono from Chrono Trigger fighting Simon Belmont at number 12. And Chrono wins by a score of 49,000 to 14,000. Okay, all right. At number 4, we see Dante from Devil May Cry over Qbert at a score of about 40 to 17. Number 6, we have Kasmui. I don't know who that is.
Kasumi from Dead or Alive.
Okay. Losing to number 11, Aerith Gainborough from Final Fantasy VII with a score of 38 to 22.
Yeah.
All right. I don't understand how number 14, Tina Armstrong, beat Gordon Freeman 33 to 22.
As we've proven today.
Boobs. Okay, yeah, perfect, sick. All right. Number 7, Knuckles beats Akira Yuki 49 to 12.
Yeah, Akira, main guy from Virtual Fighter.
Okay. And then finally we have a big upset here. Squall Lionheart with a score of 100 bajillion points because he's the best ever over Solid Snake. No, just kidding. Number 2 Solid Snake at 46 to 24 beat Squall.
Good, got dunked on.
Yeah.
Squall sucks.
Squall sucks. This one's pretty close. Laura only won in the second round. So in the quarterfinals, 36 to 24 over Ruyo. So she moved on. And then Chrono, 46 to 22 beat Dante in the 4-5 matchup, setting up.
There's a weird love for Chrono right now.
Yeah.
And it's like I feel like everybody was just like had a hard on for Chrono Trigger at the time.
It might have just been like 2002 was emulating a thing.
Yeah, it was super popular at the
I
time.
feel like emulation came out. It was like 2005 or 4 before I saw it. So it might be like fringe. Like, oh, you ever heard of this game called Chrono Trigger? Actually, it would have been released on the PlayStation at that point. So maybe. Yeah, probably. Some people had it. Number 11, 14. So we have Aerith versus Tina. Aerith wins 50 to 15. So good job, Aerith.
Yep.
All right. And then Solid Snake kills an Echidna, 41 to 26 to move on. All right.
Yeah, who would have figured?
Setting up Lara Croft versus Chrono, the 1-5 matchup, and Chrono comes away with a 52 to 21 victory.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess that kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Aerith loses to Snake, 42 to 32, so a little bit closer, and then Chrono heads on to the finals, or at least the final 4, with a 52 to 46 victory over Snake. So poor Laura, you came close, but you didn't make it all the way.
Yeah, Final 4 appearance is fine, but again, like Snake over Chrono Trigger, I think a lot of people, some people were just spending all day, every day voting for Chrono, because they were like, "This is the best game of all time." Because I remember there was a time.
The numbers are pretty consistent, though. Like look at his matchups.
I remember the numbers. Yeah, but I mean, I feel like every time he was in it, he had the highest, if not some of the highest votes. Or like, I feel like there was just like people were just obsessed with Chrono Trigger, being like, "This is the best game of all time." And I mean, we played it, and it's good. But is that if you like polled a random person, I bet you they're gonna know who Laura or know who Aerith is,
certainly.
or Aerith
Yeah.
or Snake, or even Knuckles over Chrono Trigger. They're gonna be like, I don't know, like Sword Guy. Like no one is gonna remember who Chrono.
Yeah.
Or the average person's not.
I do
gonna
feel like the weird
remember
like
Chrono.
anime RPG fanboy though is like a different breed of creature.
Hence why I'm like, I have a sneaking suspicion, especially when you go to. So that's the final of this one. Do you want to go through?
Oh God,
the final semifinals.
Oh, I was gonna say,
bottom?
yeah. Let's maybe go to like the Elite 8 on the other ones just to kind of prime that up, right? So in the North Division, we see the 1 seed Mario at 64, 999, beating Cloud at 64, 713. So like a very small margin there. He was the number 2, so Mario moves on to the finals with Chrono. In the South Division, it looks like Link beats the number 2 seeded Scorpion. The number 2 seeded Link beats the 5 seeded Scorpion 69 to 21. So a big advantage there for Link. And then in the West Division, the number 7 Sephiroth with 51 beats the number 5 Samus with 46. So that sets up a finals of Chrono versus Mario. Mario narrowly, what is that? 120, 115? Is that math
Something
right?
like that.
So 115 points. Mario goes to the finals over Chrono. That was a very, very tight matchup. And then Link beats Sephiroth by approximately, 14,000. So much, much greater. And then Link ultimately wins like he always did in all of these battles. Link always won every character battle because Link's the best. 61 to 36 over Mario.
Because you don't need a character that talks.
Yeah.
You having a character that talks almost doesn't do anything for that character. Sometimes being able to
Be silent.
project onto that character is much more valuable in a video game where you're the main character than a character that, let's say, yammers on and poetically about nothing.
How terrible is that Legend of Zelda movie going to be?
I'm dreading it.
Yeah.
With unless he's silent, and then I think this might be funny.
Yeah, okay. All right.
And might actually have a good time.
Yeah, they need to know what's up. So hopefully they know what's up. But that wraps up our look at Tomb Raider and kind of the world that Tomb Raider exists, right? So early internet chat rooms ish. I'd say by probably like 2000 to 2002. GameFAQs. That was a very, very look. We've just read some of the numbers, guys. Like they were getting 80,000 votes a week, right? So that's a lot of hits for your gaming website. People were probably returning daily or whatever it was, or multiple times just to kind of vote for their favorite characters again and again and again. And we kind of saw that, right? And it was just kind of that admiration for, I don't know. I guess Laura. What did we figure out? It's just because she had boobs.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Basically.
Cool. So that's about it. So if you're trying to get into a market and you look around and you don't see any girls, that's most of it. Like if you ever, and I'm not going to discredit anyone, but I imagine there's lots of like game Twitch streamers of girls that show their boobs sometimes. You can see their boobs when they show their face, and they're probably more popular than the girls that don't show boobs. So.
Yep.
We're
It's almost
simple
like
creatures.
It's almost like there's a large group of social rejects that live only on the internet.
And we always have. We're still here.
Yep.
We're still here. So now we've insulted literally everyone on the internet, from the PC master race to just men gamers to, I'm sure I insulted women at some point. You suck. Get back in the kitchens. There. Now everyone's insulted. So that's exciting. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Yes. Next time we'll just play the Duck Detective and have a much funner experience. Because if you haven't played it, check out Duck Detective.
Okay.
It's delightful.
Is that our like recommendations that we came away with? So this Christmas, don't buy Tomb Raider Remaster. Buy Duck Detective, because you'll just have so many regrets in your life if you do the one.
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah. Cool. So that wraps up Tomb Raider. Will we ever come back to this series? Maybe. If we podcast for a very long time, we'll have to do something. I already own 2 and 3, so.
Hopefully the controls don't suck.
Yeah. But I think we're back. Well, I think you see us probably maybe somewhere around New Year's, maybe New Year's and New Year's Day. Yay.
Yep. And until then, you guys take it easy.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.